Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast, The Wisdom Within Her. Today is very interesting for me. I'm excited. We'll be talking about mental health. So if you want to learn coping mechanisms, you want to learn more about mental health, especially in the Black community, come tune in, come listen. So as a female, we just think that these things are not spoken about. We think that these things are not real as they are. Mental health is a sticky subject, especially society doesn't speak about it. Society slides it under the rug. They just don't speak about it enough. So I feel like on my podcast, only the real, right? So let's, tune in. So what is mental health to you, right? So mental health can mean a couple things, a lot of things, but it's all with the mind, right? So what I say is always, it's just a state of the mind of the well-being that's being affected physically, socially, or mentally. So as a female, it's important to understand that these things matter, you matter, and again, you have to find a way to cope with it, right? And everybody goes through it, right? Everybody goes through something. And that's the thing. In the real world, we kind of hide it in the Black people culture and the Black people family, and my family, we just hide it. The thing about it is we don't speak about it enough. It's like hush, hush, it's everything is okay. Oh, they don't need help, but in reality, they do, and it's okay. But you just have to own up to it and face it, right? So, as a female, it's just important to tackle your issues. So mental health can stem from trauma, right? What is trauma, right? So things that trigger you, so you can need help with, right? So triggers, we have to understand, we have to face them head on instead of running away from our issues. In the culture, we don't talk about it, but instead we do things to hide it. We drink, we smoke, we blow money because, again, we have issues, but we don't want to see a therapist. We don't want to own up to what we need to do. We don't want to face our triggers and our traumas. We don't want to speak about, communicate of what is bothering us, what's hurting us, right? So the thing about it is, especially as a female, we go through so much, right? We go through so much. We don't have anybody to, say anything to. We don't have anybody to obviously not judge us in a way. That's something that we're so stuck on in this society, and it's not good. So as a female, it's important to tackle those issues. So again, what are some mental health issues, right? Concerns. So we go through a lot of things. It can go from small things such as depression or big things such as disorders, schizophrenia. Larger things on the scale, disorders. So the fact of it is, when we get triggered, right, we get sad, things happen, we get angry, we get mad, right, we get frustrated. We feel these emotions, but we don't know where they're going out to, right? So we have to have an outlet, right? But with an outlet, now it's just, if you don't say anything, where's it going? In your mind, right? It's going through your mind, through your body. Now you are what you say that you are. So, the thing about it is, when we get sad, right, we get angry, we do things to run away from our problems. We go from relationship to relationship. We go from hanging out with the people we shouldn't be, right? But instead of healing, you're bleeding onto other people. Now, what does that mean? So as a female, like I said, relationship to relationship, right? We're trying to date everyone. We're trying to, have fun and do everything else. But we need to face that we're not healed, right? We're unhealed. We are depressed, right? We're going through things, and it's okay. That's the problem. It's okay to not be okay, right? But society doesn't want us to think that. They want you to think that, no, it's a problem. Go ahead, go out. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't voice how you feel. Don't voice your opinion. But the issue is, as females, again, stand your ground, right? So we go from relationship to relationship, and we're not healed. So we go to the next partner or person, but if you're not healed, you're bleeding on to the other person. And now they're trying to cope with your issues plus manage their own issues and also help you with everything that you're doing. But instead, it shouldn't be, So the fact of it is that you need to heal. You need to grow, right? So mental health equals what I'm saying, heal and grow, right? It's a tough topic. The thing about it is, we think, okay, when we mention therapy, right? That's the first coping skill that I would say. Go to therapy. You have to talk to a therapist, right? Speak to someone that's non-judgmental, don't know you, don't know anything about you, right? And again, non-judge free zone, right? That's what we need. We don't need, society is already hard on us, right? Society is already tough on what we think. Society is already, judging us, right? Critiquing every little thing. But you are your worst critic, right? So the fact of it is, speak to someone. Again, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It can be something so little like childhood wounds, right? That's something that is not spoken about in the Black culture. We don't talk about what hurt us when we were a kid, but when we were an adult, that's what's messing us up, right? Everything that stems from when we're a kid, our mind just goes, right? Our mind goes. We start believing that we're no good. We start believing that our parents never, quote unquote, I'm just saying, like, our parents never loved you, so they abandoned you, right? So all these issues are tackling onto your mind, toggling onto you, and now it's creating you to have bad mental health. Now, the thing is with mental health, it can either be illnesses or it can be something small, like I said, of childhood wounds, right? Childhood memory losses, right? So the fact of it is in a Black culture, we have to tackle it. And we have to understand it's okay to go to therapy. Your family wouldn't tell you that, though. That's the problem. That's the issue. Break that cycle, right? You can be the first one to go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone needs therapy. If you don't want to go to therapy, write it out. I always suggest write things that you can control, write things that you cannot control. That's the thing. So with mental health, it's all about the mind, right? But the fact of it is, we get so caught up into wanting to control everything. We want to control our emotions. We want to control how you feel about me. But that's the problem, right? So for instance, me, right? I always say mental health is real. Everybody goes through things, right? Again, it can be severe or not so severe. So again, with me, I always used to care about what others, how they treated me, right? How they looked at me, how they viewed me. Because I feel like I treat myself in the utmost top notch, right? But then somebody else treats me like I'm less than. Somebody else treats me like I don't mean anything. But again, that's wounds that I needed to heal when I was younger, right? Because again, something along those lines happened during family and my needs weren't met, right? And that's just the bottom line. Some needs were not met, but as you get into an adult, you have to heal those things. You cannot just bleed out onto other people. So again, don't care about what anyone says, right? Because now I don't care how they treat me. The thing is that I can control how I treat them. I can control the situation of what is being treated, right? So the thing about it is we have to understand, what can we control? Ask yourself, what is it in life that you can control? Because whatever you can control, now that is affecting your mental health, right? Even what else you can't control, that is affecting your mental health too. But these are things you need to take in consideration for your coping skills. So what can you control? A lot of things. You are what you can control, right? We can't worry about the next person, how they treat us. We can't worry about how somebody feels about us. We can't worry about that. That's the problem with society. We're worrying about too much of what everybody thinks, right? But you have your own issues. And again, we don't care about if our friend treats us a certain way. We don't care. You know what I mean? So tackle your issues, right? So what can you control? Again, your life, right? What can I do better to help me, right? Put out that notebook, right? What you can control, what you can't control, and look on each side, right? And the fact of it is, you'll find many things that it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I need to fix this, right? It's in your face now. So the problem is we run away too much. We don't want to think. We don't want to sit with our thoughts. We don't want to look in the mirror, right? We don't want to face it. That's just reality. We don't want to face our problems. But that's the top-notch cause of mental health. We're not facing anything, right? We're running away. We're doing everything else but coping with what we need to. And the fact of it is, when you're tapped into yourself, you understand we can't take it personally, right? Everybody goes through things. So hurt people, right? So the fact of it is, if they're hurting you, 10 times out of 10, they're already hurt. But it doesn't make it any better to continue hurting them now that they hurt you, right? Because now that's destroying your mental health times 10. Right? Because already, if somebody hurts you, right, it's just normal. We're hurt, we're sad, right? We're depressed, we're angry. Now we're worrying about, oh my gosh, what did I do? That's going to trigger your mental health. Now you're thinking, okay, I'm this bad person because now somebody did something to me, so now I have to do something to them. Can't do that, right? Break that cycle. Females, break that cycle. So it's important to understand, don't take everything personal, right? And I had to learn that. Again, it's not easy. You have to heal. Right? So again, it can take a year, it can take a month, it can take 10 years. For me, it took a couple years. Personally, like I said, I always cared about how people treated me. I never wanted to, not to say I'm so soft or so easy, but I hate to show the other side. The fact of it is you have to do what you have to do, meaning you have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to understand to put you first, right? The fact of it is we can't worry about other people if we're not healed. the fact of it is, you can't be unhealed trying to steady heal someone else. That's like me teaching you what to do, but I'm not healed. Again, I'm healed, but it always can be more healing, right? We always have more healing to do. Nobody's perfect. But the thing about it is, when you get sad, when you get depressed, mental health is not a pretty thing, right? It can be chaotic. It can be crying. It can be screaming. It can be shutting down. So we always think, what does mental health look like? Like I said, shut down, right? It can be raging with anger, right? Raging with emotions because you don't know how to place your emotions. You don't know how to voice your opinions. You don't know how to communicate with what's bothering you. So it's all boggled up. And the type of person that I was, I always boggled stuff up because it's like, if you're not going to understand me, I'm not going to repeat it more than once because, again, you know what's bothering me. But that's an issue. That's something in the Black culture, we do too much, right? We always want to bottle things in and think that everyone can read our minds. This is realistic here, right? I'm being honest. So again, tap into yourself, right? It's important to understand, cry it out. If you have to write it out, write it out. If you have to scream it out, do it, but you have to do it the proper way, right? And again, there's no proper way, but the fact of it is you can't hurt yourself, right? So we always think when we get depressed, what's the first thing that we're doing? We're downing ourselves, right? We're not talking good things about ourselves. We're talking bad things about ourselves. And realistic, right? When you're depressed, you have to think, we're not saying, oh my gosh, I'm so beautiful. When you're depressed, no. We have to think realistic here, right? So the fact of it is mental health equals you have to face your issues, face your battles, right? And your battles is, again, you versus you. Because, again, my mental health is different from your mental health. Because, again, I wanted to heal, so I took those steps. Now, you need to heal, so you need to take the steps. And again, as a female, we go through so many things. We don't want to talk about it. It's embarrassing. We think we're the only ones. This is why I'm talking about it on my podcast, because I want you to understand mental health is real. It can go from less, not severe. It can be little things like attitude switches, right? But little things trigger you. And we need to know our triggers in order to understand what goes on in the mind, right? So a mind is a powerful thing. It's a tool that we have to understand who we are, right? So just think, if we really lost our mind, what would that look like? If you really lost your mind, what would that entail, right? And again, it's not a pretty thing. But again, you have to understand, tap into yourself, right? Because again, mind is a powerful thing. So when you feed your mind positive thoughts, you start walking positively, right? But if you feed yourself negative thoughts, oh my gosh, I'm bothering everybody, I'm annoying. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst person. I can't never get a relationship. That's not good. That's triggering for your mind because now you're walking around as a bad person, right? You're walking around as you don't have anybody, right? But again, once you tap into who you are, right? Spiritual, right? You have to believe in something. That'll get you through. That's another thing. Mental health, right? Spirituality. The fact of it is that when you're looking at higher up or like I believe in God 100% is no secret. But the fact of it is everybody is not, you know what I mean? And that's okay too. But you have to believe in something, right? So when you're going through all this, who's going to get you out of it? You are, right? But also that power, that spiritual power, right? Because you have to understand that you're going to get through. But in order to get through, you have to go through. Everything is not always a pretty sight. I keep saying it because, we get caught up in saying, okay, mental health is not real. Mental health is real, and just the fact of our friends, take a look at your friendship groups. You know what I mean? Are they healed? Do they have mental health issues? And how can we know? How can we tell? So if I'm eating all the time, every day, and my friend is not, something's bothering her, but we have to pay attention, right? When you get home during the day, right, you sit down, relax. How was your day? You have to ask yourself these things. Ask yourself, how was my day? Was it good? Was it effective? Was it important? Was I sad all day? So I was just moping around. That's something that's going to affect your mental health, right? So we have to understand that you have to be strong for yourself. You have to show up for you, right? Because again, our friends are just gonna go to the wayside, right? I hate to say it, but it's true because mental health is real. So again, if you see something, you have to say something. That too. We see so many things. Personally, I see so many things. And the fact of it is, as I got older, it's important to understand these things are real. And, growing up in school, we always heard mental health. We don't really take it as serious. But as you get older, you go through certain things, right? You feel certain emotions that are triggering. So you go through things as younger. So when you get older, right, you still feel those emotions. But again, when you're healed, it wouldn't bother you as much. So again, on my podcast, I want to encourage you to continue. Get out of yourself. You know what I mean? Get out of yourself. Face your issues. Face your battles. Understand that mechanisms can be positive. Surround yourself with better people. Go to positive events. Because the thing is, you're surrounding yourself with negative energy that will latch onto you. And again, your mental health is real. So believe in that. Believe in energy. You can't surround yourself with everybody. So me, I understand, right? So I'm aligned, right? My mental health is good. I'm not saying that it's perfect. Of course not. We all go through things. Like, say, for instance, if I'm having a bad day at work, right? And then I'm normal. So if I'm having a bad day, now I'm already having a bad day. I'm going home. I'm sad. I'm annoyed. I don't want to do anything. So I'm going to sleep all day. That's another thing of mental health. We're sleeping all day. We're not doing our normal routines. We're not taking care of ourselves the way we should, right? That's mental health. If you feel like, okay, I'm being lazy, third day I'm being lazy. I haven't went to work. I've been calling out, but nobody is paying attention to why you're doing these things. Just ask them. And again, do resolutions, do solutions, right? Just make them feel comfortable. It's okay to feel how you feel, because I once felt like that too. And as a female, we can't just keep going against each other, right? We have to understand, help each other, right? I always tell people, just teach somebody. That's the thing, just teach somebody. Because again, if I know so, I'm gonna tell you so. If I went through it, I wanna tell you so you don't have to go through it. So again, as a female, it's important to understand, heal yourself, right? And again, trauma happens, triggering happens, right? To be triggered is normal, right? But you have to understand, how can I help myself when I get triggered, right? Self-help, right? So you do some self-research, right? You have to understand, read some books, right? We're always on TikTok. We're always on Instagram. We're always on Facebook. But again, mental health. So we're looking at a computer all day. We haven't eaten. We haven't slept. But we're looking at a computer all day. We're reading our favorite, shows. We're looking at our favorite shows, but instead of doing what we normally would do. That's not good with the mind. You have to feed your mind positive thoughts. You have to feed your mind with positive things. Give your phone a break, right? Go to the real world. Go to reality. And the fact of it is that mental health is so real that a lot of people, again, I say it, society, they wants to, shut that part down. When you see somebody having mental health issues, don't just be so cruel, but you have to understand, you have to know who you are as well. The thing about it is, like me, for instance, if I see somebody going through, I always want to encourage, but again, don't put yourself in harm's way. That part too. Don't put yourself in harm's way. How can you help someone if you're not helped yourself? Just ask yourself, am I healed? And that could be a broad question, that could be a generalized question, or it could be specific. Just ask yourself, because 10 times out of 10, it's okay to not be healed. But you have to understand, how can I help myself, right? How can I do things to better my mental, right? How can I do things to better my mind? If I'm drinking all day, if I'm smoking all day, running away from my problems, I'm not doing what I need to be doing in the real world, how can I say I have good mental health? But in reality, that's what society does. Society wants you to fake as if everything is so good, but it doesn't matter. But it really matters, you know what I mean? As a friend, you need to ask your friend, how was your day? Okay, long break. How's your mental going? That's me. That's the type of person I am. I always ask, how's your mental? What's going on? You know what I mean? If your friend shuts down all the time, that's a form of mental health, right? You don't want to speak to nobody. You think everybody's out to get you. You think everybody's judging you. But again, all someone needs you to do is listen. Now, again, you have mental health that's very serious, and you need, more help than the average. You have disorders, you have schizo, you have, all these other things. But the fact of it is, if you can help somebody, help somebody. And it all starts with you. So if you're not healed, again, heal yourself. Break that cycle in your family. Because again, your family is not going to tell you, oh, you need therapy. No, they're going to say, oh, my cousin is good. Let's drink today. Let's have some wine. Let's do a girls' night. Girls' night, wine, that's already messing up your mind because, again, you're not healed. So now you're bleeding onto other people and you're feeding it with alcohol, minor alcohol, whatever you want to call it. That's not good, right? So the fact of it is now you're going to lash out. Now you're going to be angry. Now you're going to be sad, crying, instead of tackling your issues. It's not a pretty sight, but again, what's better than to be healed, right? And again, society doesn't want you to think that. Society doesn't want you to know, okay, if you have a problem, run to therapy. Don't walk, run, right? If you have a problem, run to that notebook to write your issues down. If you have a problem, talk to yourself. If you need to, me personally, I always say, okay, I always need another me. I always need another input. But again, you are you for a reason. And the fact of it is, I don't look for validation in anyone. So I speak to myself. Okay, you got to get out of this, right? I'm doing bad. I'm in a bad spot right now. My mind is just racing. Everybody's pissing me off, right? So I'm angry. I'm annoyed because you're not understanding what I'm going through. You're not understanding what I'm saying, right? So now shut down. But again, you got to cope with that. You have to write it down. You have to, if you need to listen to music, cry it out. Hey, that's your form. Right? But again, as a female, break those cycles, make those changes because in the real world, it matters. And again, for my young girls, whoever's watching me, just understand that having mental health issues is okay. But the fact of it is, being not to be okay is okay. But you have to tackle those issues. You have to face the real world. You have to face yourself. And a lot of times we don't want to do so. But when you face yourself, you're being free, right? You're freeing yourself of all that. You're freeing yourself of the cycles that you should have when you were a child. But again, our parents are not going to say, oh, you need to heal. Our parents are not going to say, come on, let's have family time, writing down our issues. I do an exercise all the time, write down your issues on a plate. And then you go somewhere and you break the plate. And you'll feel a huge difference, right? So what is that exercise for? All the triggers that you have, right? You breaking something as a value of it leaves your life, right? You breaking something as how you feel. If somebody's bothering you, but they continuously bother you, right? Getting you into where you don't know that you're being triggered, but you're being triggered, right? It's a push and pull. So now you're physically breaking it. So now we don't have to worry about it anymore. Now it's out of our mind. We always say, out of sight, out of mind, because it matters. We run away from our problems, right? If the person that is bothering us, now we don't see them. So now we're thinking, oh, it's okay because I don't see them. But you're going to run into that same person in different people. You're going to run into those same traits in different people. So the fact of it is, tackle those issues. When you get into a relationship and you hate your ex-partner, but now you're not healed, so you're jumping into relationship to relationship, you're going to meet that same person traits until you heal yourself. And I only tell you what I know. So I had to heal. So that's why I want you to heal, because again, it matters. And you're always going to have somebody looking at you, right? You're always going to have somebody looking up at you. And, with me, I have kids that I teach. I have kids that I teach and I always want to be an example. I have a baby sister. So I want her to understand at some point, it's okay to let it out. At some point, it's okay to not be okay. But again, at some point, do not hold it in, because when you hold it in, now we're an adult. We don't know how to express our feelings. We don't know how to show love when we're supposed to show love, right? People always, sometimes you tell your friends, I love you. They don't know how to react. They'll say, oh, you're being weird. So the fact of it is, you have to embrace love, right? You have to show them that you love them. You have to show the compassion. Because again, everybody does not have love at home. And with mental health, you have to treat it as such, right? So again, as a female, I just encourage you to break free from all your trauma, break free from all your triggers. And being not to be okay is still okay. Because again, everybody goes through things. But the fact is, you have to tackle those issues. Look yourself in the mirror and see what I can do, right? What can I do to break free from when I was a child? And again, you're going to have things to break free from. Everybody is. Me personally, it was abandonment. It was always feeling like I was a problem. But now as an adult, it's good. Life is good. But you have to heal. And still, I'm still healing. Not perfect. But again, I want to just teach you these coping skills because it all matters. And when you just continue sliding under the rug like society, now we're running away from our issues. So now we're shutting down, we're doing things we don't need to be doing. So again, I just want to encourage you guys to, just break free from that. Open up your mouth. If something's wrong, open up your mouth. Go to therapy. Write things down. The thing is, you have to see what you can control and what you can't control. And if you can't control it, don't let it bother you more than 5 seconds. And it matters because if you can control it, that's what you need to work on. Whatever you can control, that's what you need to work on. Your assignment is you. Your assignment is not no one else. Focus on you until the focus is you. So the fact of it is that you matter, right? You value yourself. And again, I value you because, again, I want you to understand, be better than today than yesterday. And mental health is real. So just understand, stay encouraged, and understand that, again, everybody goes through things. Thank you so much, guys. Just to close this episode out, I just want to really continue thanking you guys of watching me, and also just, continue worrying about your mental health. Continue breaking these codes, right? Continue finding coping mechanisms like therapy. Continue writing things out, continue figuring out what you can control, what you can't control. And, I just hope that you continue watching me on this journey. And, if you want to break some more generational curses, come back to Wisdom Within Her. See you guys. Continue following me.